So I think, I think there's always a place for print. It will always exist. TV did not kill the radio. TV and radio did not kill newspapers. Yeah, there used to be much more of a thriving newspaper culture in America. I think it got a little complacent. As you can tell from my accent, I'm not from around here. I grew up in the UK, where we have, roughly 10 national newspapers in cutthroat competition with each other at all times. And I came to the US and I found each city had 1 or 2 newspapers that were in this sort of very genteel kind of competition that really wasn't cutthroat at all. I think what's happened is that market is now kind of catching up with reality. The best newspapers will absolutely thrive. It's a Darwinian process. I think the newspapers that look the best, have the best design, have the most beautiful way of presenting information, will thrive. And the same is true of magazines. If they give you a good experience, they make you want to pick them up week after week, to subscribe to them, to leaf through them, to not have to jump from article to article, which I know a lot of young people have a serious problem with because they're not used to that kind of behavior. Jumping is just, jump to page A16, why? Why couldn't you just print the rest of the article there? So, these sort of vestigial, organs are going to be removed from the organism, I think, in a very Darwinian sense. The best newspapers will thrive, and they'll still be here, I think, in 2040, 2050.
Chris, just very quickly, I mean, certainly TV did not kill radio, but the tape was killed by the CD, which was killed by MP3s, and I'm not sure which analogy is more apt here.
And yet vinyl came back.
And yet vinyl came back.
Condé Nast is reprinting Domino magazine in paper form, right? Which is a great magazine, I know. Thank God, is right. But I mean, I think that there are examples of how print the brands of print have become so strong that, even though the actual printed magazine that was in circulation has gone away, they're still looking for different ways to surface content and potentially to produce new print artifacts from that brand. So I think there's a possibility.
I mean, I think everyone's going to have to just think about how much longer and for what kinds of things it makes sense to send dead trees around the city or the country or the world. For some things that might make sense, but for a lot of things it probably won't make sense. And as the digital devices get cheaper and better and more just easier to use in every sense, I think a lot of what we think of as print, which is different than the kinds of journalism and storytelling that used to be on paper, will go away. But the curated experience of either a great magazine or a great newspaper, that will live on because that has value. It just might not be on dead trees.